Good evening.
How are you? Hope you're all doing very well. Ben Coombs, hey Ben, good to see you here.
Geronimo, I know being the first in is rude, so hey, Mike, everyone.
Great to see you. I'm talking Kev, awesome, Doug, Sentinel, Dennis, hey, okay. I'm ready. Right. So, we are doing
a slash special tonight, and we got quite a few videos. I think we've got about 8 or 9.
Yeah, we have quite a few. Ben has got his live show tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard, so check it out. Yeah. Ladies on here, Tholander is she and Matt. There is.
Do something interesting, you hacks. Thanks, Matt.
And also Jacob. That is right.
Hey, brother. Great to see you guys. Looking forward to catching some of your live shows. Some of the live show. Where are you going?
Jacob very often watches.
Oh, watches it back.
On Monday morning. But it's great you're here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Grasshopper. Hey, how you doing?
Who's this little one?
Esther.
Hello, boys.
Hey.
Hello, Esther. Yeah, Esther's my wife, by the way. Who's this grasshopper?
Some people to join us tonight. That'd be great. Family commitments. Yeah, we know. It's great to see you.
Absolutely.
Right. So, shall we this?
So, we've got a few videos here. We've got myths about Slash's gear that people still believe. Slash biog. Slash fake guitars. This one's interesting. I had no idea. Slash recorded for Bob Dylan.
Yeah.
Slash stopping Leigh from using the music of Guns N' Roses. Well, if you've got that kind of money, you can afford to stop Leigh using it, can't you? Sweet Child of Mine riff.
Yeah.
The bargain he got on Joe Perry's guitar.
Yeah.
And Velvet Revolver's Stolen riff. So what's that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
8. But I think we will start with his biog.
I think we should. Let's start with Sol Hudson's biog.
Let's hear it.
Winning hard rock guitarist Slash played with Guns N' Roses until 1996. He went on to form the band Velvet Revolver and released 2 solo albums. Slash grew up in Los Angeles and learned to play guitar as a teenager. In 1985 he joined Guns N' Roses and earned international acclaim for riffs on songs like Sweet Child O' Mine. After leaving Guns N' Roses in 1996, Slash did session work and formed other bands, such as Velvet Revolver. Slash suffered heart failure in 2001 and reformed his life, documenting it all in his 2007 autobiography. In March 2016 it was announced that Guns N' Roses would reunite for a North American tour. Sol Hudson, better known as Slash, was born to an African-American mother and British father in London on July 23, 1965. A family friend gave him the nickname Slash because he was constantly in motion. Slash lived with his father and grandparents in Stoke-on-Trent until the age of 5, when he and his father joined his mother in Los Angeles. His parents divorced several years later, and Slash became a problem child. He lost interest in schoolwork and took up BMX racing. At 14, he began learning to play guitar, sometimes practicing for as many as 12 hours a day. In 1981, he joined his first band, Titus Sloan, and dropped out of high school to tour. For the next 4 years, Slash joined or formed a series of bands. Among them was Hollywood Rose, which also included Axl Rose and Izzy Stradlin. The band didn't last, but in 1985 Rose and Stradlin asked Slash to join their new band, Guns N' Roses. They began writing the songs that they would become known for, including Sweet Child O' Mine, Welcome to the Jungle, and Paradise City, and were signed by Geffen Records in 1986. By the time Guns N' Roses released their debut album, Appetite for Destruction, in 1987, Slash and other members of the band had developed a drug problem. 2 years later, when the band opened for the Rolling Stones, Axl Rose made a very public announcement that he would leave the band if the other members kept using heroin. J Balvin attends the Dior Menswear Spring-Summer 2023 show as part of Paris Fashion Week on June 24, 2022 in Paris, France. Rosalie arrives at the 2019 Billboard Women in Music at Hollywood Palladium on December 12, 2019 in Los Angeles, California. In 1991, the band embarked on the 2.5-year Use Your Illusion tour and released the albums Use Your Illusion I and Use Your Illusion 2. The albums debuted at number 2 and No. 1, respectively, on the Billboard 200 list, but the group was losing steam. Izzy Stradlin left the group suddenly, and their next album, a compilation of punk and glam rock covers titled The Spaghetti Incident, performed poorly compared to their earlier work. Slash's final show with the band was on July 17, 1993, and after a period of dormancy, he announced in 1996 that he was no longer a member of the band. Although he was widely rumored to have left the band because of artistic conflicts with Axl Rose, Slash's 2007 autobiography claims that he quit Guns N' Roses because Izzy Stradlin and Steven Adler left, because Rose required band members to sign contracts that made them hired hands, and because Rose made the band take the stage hours later than planned during tours. 20 years after Slash's departure from the band, in March 2016, it was announced that Guns N' Roses would be reuniting for a 21-city North American tour, with shows in Las Vegas, at Coachella, and in Mexico City scheduled as a lead-up to the highly anticipated event. After he finished touring with Guns N' Roses, Slash formed a series of bands, including Slash Snake Pit and a blues cover band called Slash's Blues Ball. In 2003, he formed Velvet Revolver, which was largely praised and heralded as a successful comeback. Slash also released 2 solo albums, one in 2008 and one in 2012. Slash married model actress Rene in 1992 and divorced from her in 1997. In 2001, he married Perla Ferrer, and they had 2 children. Although he filed for divorce in 2010, the couple reconciled 2 months later. At the age of 35, Slash was diagnosed with cardiomyopathy, caused by years of drug and alcohol use. He was given just weeks to live, but he had a defibrillator implanted and, beating the odds, went on to survive. He has been sober since 2006, and in 2007 he published his autobiography, titled simply Slash.
So, there we go.
Good stuff. I think with Slash, he's interesting because as a character, obviously you've got all the drugs and the alcohol and the past, but every time he's made a record, even the Appetite for Destruction, how those 5 people managed to make that record, which is absolute classic.
Well, they were completely out of it.
Yeah, I read an interview with, I think Mike Klink was the producer, and he said that they were actually sober for the sessions. They took it so seriously that they made sure they were sober just for the sessions. But I think the other thing with Slash is, some guitar players are divisive. Yngwie Malmsteen, it's a bit like Marmite, and there's certain other guitar players where people go, "Oh no, I don't like." With Slash, I don't really hear that.
No,
I think everyone kind of.
He's a great player.
I never get tired of hearing Slash play. The Guns N' Roses stuff is great, but his work as Slash with Miles Kennedy and the Conspirators is fantastic.
Yeah.
Great video to start things off, Mike. Yeah, well done.
Thank you. When the show was in, good to see you. I'm like, what? Great to see you as well. So we have quite a lot of it for tonight. I'll move
that one over.
Yeah.
So we got myths about Slash's gear that people still believe. Slash fake guitars. Slash recorded for Bob Dylan. Slash stopping Leigh from using their music. Sweet Child of Mine riff. The bargain he got on Joe Perry's guitar and Velvet Revolver's stolen riff. Have they got that back yet? I don't know.
Well, that's not what we were like to see.
So first one to post something up. Myths, please. There we go. Jake Lee guitar. Myths.
Okay, but what was that?
Myths about Slash's gear that people still believe. The Cat in the Hat's tone and gear might seem simple on first glance, but few guitarists have promoted more debate and discussion about their gear as Slash. Few guitarists have more signature gear in the world than Saul Hudson, but while the route to nailing Slash's tone might seem simple, signature Gibson Les Paul into signature Marshall amp with a few of his signature pedals thrown in, but the reality is a lot more complex. From rented amps to dubiously authentic instruments, there's a huge amount of debate, conjecture, and straight-up myth surrounding Slash's hugely influential tone and the gear he used to create it. Let's set the record straight. By the time Guns N' Roses recorded their epoch-defining debut record, Appetite for Destruction, in 1987, Slash had pawned many of his guitars, and so entered the studio with the only ones he had left, which he recounted, all sounded terrible. So the band's manager went out to a local guitar shop and purchased a beautiful single-cut instrument that featured a gorgeous flamed maple top. This is the guitar that was used on Appetite for Destruction and would come to define Slash's iconic look and tone to this day. But even though the guitar said Gibson Les Paul on the headstock, it was not a Gibson Les Paul. In fact, the guitar was a custom-built replica of a '59 Sunburst Les Paul with a couple alternative specifications including Seymour Duncan Alnico 2 Zebra pickups. Quite who actually built this guitar is also something that has been subject to a great deal of speculation. In his autobiography, Slash claims that it was made by the late Jim Foote, who owned Music Works in Redondo Beach. Now, Foote shared a shop space with another luthier named Chris Durig. Foote did own the shop, but Chris built most of the guitars. Foote has since confirmed that it was Chris Durig who built the guitar. Unfortunately, Chris Durig passed away before he could get the credit due to him for building the iconic guitar. In fact, he sadly passed away of throat cancer just a few months prior to the release of Appetite for Destruction in 1987. Chris' son, Dale, estimates that his dad made about 20, maybe more, of these Les Paul replicas. Slash now owns 3 of them. These Durig Les Pauls have become highly sought after in the years since, but obviously they are very hard to track down. It's ironic though that one of the most iconic Les Paul tones in the history of recorded music, not to mention one that has spawned endless Gibson signature models, wasn't even a real Les Paul. When GNR signed to Geffen Records, they were given $370,000 to record their debut LP. Now, according to Slash, they spent most of it on heroin instead, which would explain why a lot of the gear on Appetite for Destruction was rented rather than bought. As a result, it's been tough to pin down what exactly was used on the sessions. Some have claimed Slash used a Marshall Silver Jubilee for AFD, and while he did use it on subsequent tours, it wasn't released until 1987, so can't have been in the studio. Instead, in the spring of 1986, Slash went into SIR, Studio Instrument Rentals in LA, to test out amplifiers to use on the album and finally found one he loved, a Marshall Model 1959 T Super Lead Tremolo, pre-master volume, and post-plexi. It had a metal faceplate. The amp had stenciled lettering that read, stock number 39. When the band went in to record the album, between August and December of 1986, Slash specifically requested stock number 39 from SIR. But there was a problem. George Lynch had rented the amp to use on Dokken's 1986 tour, which ended the 13th of September in Irvine, California. So, that amp not available to be delivered to Slash in time to use during the recording session, but the company still had an obligation to deliver a comparable amp for the sessions. Now, stock number 39 was not, ironically, a stock Super Lead Tremolo. It had been modified by a tech who worked for the company named Tim Caswell. Tim mod the amp by taking the AMP's unused tremolo circuit, which had an additional preamp tube, and turning it into an extra preamp stage. The amp sported EL34 power tubes. They were typically shipped to the US with 6550s in those days. He also added a master volume. In short, Tim was a great tech with an affinity for gain stacking. Tim left the company in 1985 and was replaced by a guy named Frank Levi. Tim's mod, stock number 39, had become a favorite among those looking to rent gear, so Frank was tasked with making more amps like the stock number 39. Frank's first test subject was an amp dubbed stock number 36, which was a model 1959 Super Lead but was not a tremolo, therefore, it didn't have the existing tube and circuit to convert, so the extra gain stage, tube and circuit was added right next to the existing 3 preamp tubes. Frank's first test subject was an amp dubbed stock number 36, which was a model 1959 Super Lead but was not a tremolo, therefore, it didn't have the existing tube and circuit to convert, so the extra gain stage, tube and circuit was added right next to the existing 3 preamp tubes. Frank ended up swapping out some capacitors from donor amps, some of which were allegedly old Fenders, until he got it to sound like number 39. There were only a couple main differences. On number 39, you could switch the 4th preamp tube on and off via a toggle switch mounted in place of one of the input jacks. Number 36 was just on all the time. Number 36 also had a master volume knob mounted in a different spot. According to a supervisor at SIR at the time, Glenn Buckley, SIR sent Slash number 36, although they never told Slash that, perhaps hoping he wouldn't notice, leading to many false tales of the legendary stock number 39 being used on Appetite. Slash never seemed to notice and was very happy with number 36. He actually tried to duck SIR in order to keep the amp, but they eventually came down to the band's rehearsal space and took it back. Furthermore, there was another amp, known as number 34, that was also mod by Frank Levi that Slash bought and used for Use Your Illusion and many subsequent albums. Some claim it was number 34 on Appetite for Destruction, but rest assured, it was number 36. Slash and Marshall go way back. In fact, the 2555 SL was the first ever signature Marshall head ever. That amp was based on the 1987 2555 Silver Jubilee amps he used on the Appetite tours, but with diagonal transformers wound in Malta instead of Bedford. Back in 2010, Slash got a new signature amp, the AFD 100, which was the result of over a year of collaboration between Mr. Hudson and the Boffins in Bletchley to create an amplifier that faithfully recreated the tones of that iconic debut album. Now, some people take that to mean that the AFD is an exact replica of the stock number 36 amp mod by Frank Levi and rented from SIR as detailed above, but while it certainly delivers Slash-centric tones, this is not the case. In fact, it features 2 modes, number 34 and AFD. Number 34 is modeled on Slash's favorite JCM 82203, which was also mod by Frank Levi and used on Use Your Illusion and most albums since then. AFD mode is, of course, designed to replicate the tone of Appetite and brings in additional gain that's modeled on that fabled stock number 36 amp rented from SIR, but there's one very good reason that it's not an exact replica. Nobody know where it is. Somehow one of the most important amplifiers in the history of rock guitar has fallen off the face of the earth. Without it, Slash and Santiago Alvarez worked together listening to Slash's tracks from the original master tapes to create the tone circuit based on their listening sessions. Sonically it might be pretty damn close, and it definitely is. But it's not a schematical copy of the original amp. If it ever turns up, maybe that will chance. The AFD 100 also has a feature called electronic power attenuation, which is a further refinement of the technology used in Yngwie Malmsteen's signature head. The attenuator knob works as a power soak. We spoke with Slash's tech, Ace Bergman, for a lesson on what a power soak is and how Slash uses it. A power soak goes between the power amp and the cabinet and basically soaks up some of the AMP's power by turning it into heat, he explains. It lets you run your amp with the master volume high and still cut some volume out. The only time we ever used that feature was with the talk box, so it doesn't rattle your teeth so bad. When recording Use Your Illusion, Slash wanted to emulate the musical feedback he'd become adept at using on stage, but it proved tricky to consistently reproduce in a studio environment. To make life easier for everyone, Slash's tech at the time, Adam Day, created a feedback circuit that he could switch in as needed, but there's a lot of debate about what this actually entailed. Thankfully, in 1991 Adam spoke to Guitar Player at the time and revealed that the circuit consisted of a splitter box that ran into a MI-Seat Marshall half stack in the studio on one side, with a volume pedal-controlled Messer Boogie MK3 on the other side. There has been a lot of debate over Slash's setup, specifically the feedback circuit, that was used in the studio during the recording of Use Your Illusion. A diagram appeared in the December 1991 issue of Guitar Player magazine should clear things up. I picked the Messer Boogie Markil because it had the most gain and distortion, Adam explained. It developed feedback the quickest and at the right frequency. This goes right back to the pickups and out to the Marshall. The Boogie wasn't on all the time. When Slash wanted to have it in, I'd press the volume pedal down and he'd start getting feedback. The rest or the track was so loud in the monitors that the feedback wasn't too distracting. Slash's rig has evolved over the years, but no matter what he's playing, it always sounds like him. It's easy to get into the weeds with this stuff and to obsess over minutiae, but ultimately Slash has that rare talent that so many of the greats have, of playing in a way that is instantly identifiable, regardless of the gear used. The common denominator is always him. Slash has worked with several techs and many producers over the years. The way we did stuff evolved while I was his main guy, and Slash's rig evolves to this day, says Slash tech ace Bergman. Plus, in the studio he is willing to try all sorts of different stuff, so he may well use a piece of gear once for a recording and never again. Or we use something at 2 live shows and decide not to keep using it. Or maybe something shows up in a photo behind him and people think he is using it. The guy plays guitar 7 days a week in all sorts of settings. No one, not even him, will have a complete picture of all the gear he has and or does use. Maybe the trick is not to obsess over the gear your icon used, or the techniques for that matter, and just focus on sounding like you first of all.
I think the end of that video made, and it just towards the end, where it was basically saying that whatever gear he's running through, it'll sound like Slash.
What?
Which is the mark of any great player. Eddie Van Halen, I'm sure, whatever he plugged into, he sounded like Eddie.
In fact, a while back, I saw
It'll come.
I can't remember.
We'll come back to that one. We just had a little ping. Wonder where is his original top hat and does it still exist? It's probably in a hard rock museum or somewhere.
Hey, question.
Mike found out that I use a Digitech RP360 XP for my YouTube videos, so he unfriended me and blocked my channel. It's going to come back to you. It will. It's because he's had 17 of these guys. So
alcohol free.
Alcohol free. That's what he says. So let's next video. We're just going to bring them up. So Slash fake guitars. I think they kind of talked about that in the last one, didn't they? Slash recorded for Bob Dylan. Slash stopping Leigh from using music of Guns N' Roses. Sweet Child of Mine riff. Velvet Revolver's Stolen riff, and the bargain he got on Joe Perry or off Joe Perry. I think we should go for, because Slash recorded for Bob Dylan. Let's do that. Yeah.
Okay.
We'll play the video and then it's going to come back to you during the video, and we can reveal all.
Right. Bob Dylan.
Slash recorded for Bob Dylan. That's it.
Yeah.
Here.
Recorded for Bob Dylan. Saul Hudson might not be a name you are familiar with, yet it belongs to one of the most instantly recognizable musicians of the past 40 years, Slash, of Guns N' Roses fame. Slash is well known not only for his trademark dark frizzy locks and black felt top hat, but also for his unrivaled proficiency on the guitar, particularly when using the Gibson Les Paul, the 6-string that Slash considers the best all-round axe going. As well as his work with Guns N' Roses, with whom he recorded one of the best-selling albums of all time in the shape of Appetite for Destruction, Slash also formed Velvet Revolver with his former colleagues Duff McKagan and Matt Sorum in 2002, after they realized they still had the musical chemistry that made Guns N' Roses so popular. Slash's unique talent for ripping into a tasty guitar solo has also made him a highly sought-after session musician. He has regularly been invited to feature on many other famous musicians' records, including Alice Cooper, Michael Jackson, Iggy Pop, Lenny Kravitz, Motorhead, Carole King, and even on an unlikely partnership with Eazy-E of NWA stature. However, Slash's introduction to featuring on the tracks of others began in 1990 when he was invited by producer Don Was to record a guitar piece for Bob Dylan's track Wiggle Wiggle. The track featured on Dylan's 1990 album Under the Red Sky and, along with Slash, had guest contributions from the likes of Elton John, George Harrison, David Crosby, and Stevie Ray Vaughan. It was a real basic 1-4-5 blues kind of thing, Slash said of the feature. Don had suggested me to play the solo for this particular song, which was like an acoustic kind of thing. I went down to the studio, went in, and did what I thought was a great one-off. So I said, Don, make me a tape when you guys are done and let me check it out. Slash added, so he sends me a tape the next day of the rough, and the song's moving along, the lyrics and chorus go by, and the solo section comes in, and it's just me playing acoustic, strumming, and then back into the song. I said, what happened to the solo? Don replied, Bob thought it sounds too much like Guns N' Roses. So it was a great lesson learned for me. At that time, I hadn't done a lot of session work, and it was a great learning experience. Slash also opened up on the collaborative features that followed his work with Dylan. Of his feature on Michael Jackson's 1991 album Dangerous, he said it was an opportunity to grow as a player and learn to adapt to other people's situations. I was sort of freaked out, it's Michael Jackson, and it was sort of a, whoa, kind of thing. We met and exchanged niceties, and he took off to dinner and left me with the producer, and I just did my thing. That was it. That's sort of what he was always like, just do your thing.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
So Mike remembered, finally remembered, the guy who played surfing with the aliens, so Joe Satriani.
Yeah,
so,
my brain is not quite...
so Mike saw him play, and he basically said he was playing through a really rubbish guitar setup, but he still sounded amazing and just like Joe Satriani. So it just goes to show.
Yeah.
Well, Eddie Van Halen's played with Michael Jackson, and Slash has, so maybe Joe Satriani would have been next.
Yeah, well, maybe. I
only saw Slash once so far with Miles at Aftershock. So great.
I saw him at Wembley Arena.
Yes, Wembley Arena. I saw them. The only time I've seen them live, I've never seen Guns N' Roses on their own for some reason. Always missed it. But the Freddie Mercury tribute. So I was there. So that was that's the only time I've seen them. He did the same thing extremely well.
Yeah. Oh,
cheers to you, Leo.
Yeah, good to see you.
So I think the next video should be, because I think it was Easton Ray said, he asked the question about the guitar that he got from Joe Perry.
Yeah.
So I think we should
play that
one.
Okay. That's it.
Roses / recalls the bargain he got on Joe Perry's guitar. In a recent interview with Gibson TV, Guns N' Roses guitarist / shared his process of buying a Joe Perry guitar for less than its actual value. / has always been known for his unique approach to playing the guitar. He is known for focusing on the spirit of his solos and riffs as opposed to playing faster or with intricate techniques. He understands the importance of technique, but expressing emotion through music is truly important to the guitarist. Owning more than one guitar is common for guitarists in the industry. Some buy them as collectors, while others prefer to have irreplaceable guitars they cherish and play on stage. For / Joe Perry's guitar, which he saw on an Aerosmith poster, was one of those that he couldn't take his mind off. The guitarist stated that when he was a teenager, he saw that guitar on an Aerosmith poster. He always thought it was a cool-looking guitar, and in 1988, when Guns N' Roses was in Japan, he got a call about a guitar he might like. The seller described it as a guitar that Eric Roberts and Joe Perry owned. The GNR icon immediately guessed the guitar they were talking about and asked for the Polaroids. After returning home from the tour, an envelope of Polaroids of the guitar was waiting for him. He contacted the seller and bought the guitar for $8,000. / said that the seller probably didn't know the actual value of the guitar, so it was a great deal for him to buy it for cheap. / words on how he bought Joe Perry's guitar for a bargain. We're talking about kids recognizing cool guitars. When I was, probably 16-17 years old, on Aerosmith's Live bootleg album, on the fold out, there are many photos of them. Joe had this Les Paul that didn't look like your typical cherry sunburst Les Pauls. I didn't even know why it was special at the time. I always remember that was a cool looking guitar, and I think it was an Aerosmith poster that a friend of mine had where he had that same guitar. So, I always recognized it as really cool looking because of its color. Fast forward to 1988, and the Guns was on tour, our first tour of Japan. I got a phone call in my hotel room from management saying, somebody contacted us saying they've got this guitar that you might be interested in. It was owned by Eric Roberts and Joe Perry. I was like, it's 59 Les Paul, like, if it's the guitar I think you're talking about, I know exactly what it looks like. I know all the scratches and stuff on it, so send me some Polaroids. The tour ends, and I get home to my apartment in Hollywood. I got this big fat envelope stuffed with something, and I opened it up, and it's a stack of Polaroids, and it's that effing guitar. I could not believe it. I was like, no way, so the guy selling it didn't really know what he had, and I bought it for $8,000. The most amazing thing is that Slash gave the guitar back to Perry as a gift. What a guy.
Yeah.
That's brilliant. So he bought it in the end and then gave it back to Joe.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Very kind. Hey,
Cheers, Mike. Sorry I'm late. Great topic. I will definitely watch the replay of what I missed.
Awesome.
So, for you personally, you got Guns N' Roses, so obviously Axl. You got Miles Kennedy and Slash, and then my favourite Velvet Revolver.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, that was I'm a huge fan of Stone Temple Pilots. So having Scott Weiland in that band, and they really tried to help him as well with his problems, especially Duff McKagan. But sadly, as we all know, Weiland lost his life in the end to his addictions. But Slash has worked with some great people.
Very sad.
Very sad.
Yeah.
Very sad. Eston Ray. Joe Satriani, he was teaching out of a small closet in Berkeley, California music store back then.
Wow. And you've had a lesson with him.
Had a lesson with him in a closet.
Wow.
Wouldn't be allowed these days, would it?
Really great. I really think Slash is one of the guitar players that has it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, his solos are fantastic, and you can tell it's him.
Yeah.
So, and the iconic November Rain when he comes out of the church and he plays it. It's
Yeah.
They must have spent a lot of money on that video.
Oh yeah. Thank you, Mr.
Hi, Mike. Nice to see you. Interesting. So many SAT students went on to do big things.
Yeah.
So, if you know who they are, can you put them up in the comments?
Well, I'll tell you, someone was a player for SAT. That was Yvan.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Oh, so Satriani taught Steve.
Yvan was a student of SAT.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Steve Vai's one of those players as well,
Oh,
isn't he?
yeah,
Where you know it's him. When he joined Whitesnake,
Yeah.
I mean, a weird pairing, but suddenly you could just tell it was him all over the album.
Yeah.
Changed the sound. What other videos have we got? So many.
What was
Vi Hammett. Kirk Hammett come. Yes. I'd read about that.
What a SAT.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, he taught me how to use his wah-wah pedal. I think he stopped there.
I am here. Great to see you. Gilbert.
Oh, Paul Gilbert from Mr. Big.
Yeah. Wow.
Must have. Well, they're those kind of technical players, aren't they?
Well, I think we should do SAT.
Joe Satriani.
Yeah.
We'll do it.
Yeah.
Paul Gilbert as well. I was fortunate enough to see Slash with Guns in 1992. It was the only time, but what a guitarist.
He was.
There's when they first came over to London, they played the Marquee Guns N' Roses for a couple of sold out shows.
Yeah.
And it's funny because they reckon there's about 30,000 people in the UK who said they were there. I knew someone at the time who was there. It's just before they blew up. And he said, check this album. It was when it had the old cover on it, the robotic cover.
Yeah.
And they changed a lot, that band coming through at the time.
Yeah. Right. Okay.
I want to say.
We've got quite a few more.
Just seen a comment here. So someone's saying that the guy from Primus as well.
Where? Oh, yeah.
Ylle from Primus as well.
Really? That's for all these people.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, I've also who's out here?
You've forgotten again.
Who's the one?
Oh, yes. What is his name? Jason Becker. Jason Becker.
I will hear him next. But I think we should do
Satriani.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it must have been a great season.
Yeah.
Hi.
Jason Becker. We got there in the end.
Yeah.
I swear it's this stuff.
Our whole thing.
So you say, my friend. Let's have a look at the videos we've got.
Yeah, we've got quite a few.
We've got Slash Fake Guitars, which has kind of been Slash Stopping Leigh from Using Guns N' Roses. Sweet Child of Mine riff. Is a video where it shows you how to play it.
No, it's all about how it came about.
Okay. Yes, I remember. Bargain and Gold. Oh, we've had that one. And Velvet. It is this, isn't it? I can't even say Velvet Revolver.
Oh.
And so we've got Slash Fake Guitars, Slash Stopping Leigh, Sweet Child of Mine riff, and Velvet Revolver's Stolen riff. So first one we
can have me talking properly back at year 3, number 3.
Yes. Sorry, we have got a Gear Street video.
We have.
So let's play that one.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's do that one.
Let's do it. And here I am back at 42 Gear Street, and today we're checking not only this beautiful PJD offset out, but also we're going to check out the Line 6 Pod Go, because I haven't had a chance to try that out yet. And today I've just done a few of the tones using this guitar on the Line 6 Pod Go. I love the look of this beautiful white finish with the natural wood finish. Again, I love the fact that it's a humbucker and a P90. Very straightforward, very simple. 3-way switch, and there's no push-pull. Volume, single tone. Love this pick guard as well. These PJD guitars have really been surprising us all here, that how good they really are. This is beautifully set up. I'll tell you a little bit more about the playability once we've listened to the demo. So we're doing two things today. We're doing this PJD guitar and also the Pod Go. Let's go and have a listen. So I really hope you like the tone of this guitar. There were a few tones from all pickup selections there, but obviously a lot of this was showing the pod go as well. But this guitar, in terms of playability, for me, it's got a lovely, lovely thick neck. There is a little bit, just a little bit of sharp fret ends. It's not sharp, but you can feel them. They just seem to overhang a tiny, tiny little bit. But other than that, it really is very stable tuning. It's a beautiful bit of maple on this roasted maple neck. And yeah, I love the inlays. The square inlays are really a nice little feature. So yeah, single fixed bridge, and obviously the ferrules on the back there to go through. I love the fact that the plate covering the back you can hardly see because it is almost disguised. Again, this rounded heel cut joint, which means that the access up to the top frets is really, really easy. I love the headstock on the PJD guitars, and I've really enjoyed playing this. The neck is also a satin finish, which makes it really, really nice to play. I just really enjoy playing it. I hope you've enjoyed it as much. As always, I just do the average demo. You guys do the review in the comments section down below, and I can't wait to see what you think of this and also the Line 6 Pod Go. Should I be upgrading the Pocket Pod? That's the big question of this video, and I'd love to know your thoughts in the comment section down below. As always, I'll be back with the very best content I can, just as soon as I can. But until then, you guys take good care. There you go.
Great demo.
Back
when you could talk, yeah, but you just need to keep off these, don't you? So you went all Eddie Van Halen there from
yeah. Hey,
Ben
we're
Coombs,
here.
and I do no demos. At Ben Coombs, sorry.
Awesome. So yeah, that was a year ago when I thought. Well, I still thought a little bit, but not afraid. Right.
We got a few more videos.
Yeah, let's move that over.
Right. Slash fake guitars, slash stopping Leigh from using the music of Guns N' Roses, Sweet Child of Mine riff. I reckon we should do that because the Easton was saying he wanted something to do with the riff. Slash. So.
What was that?
Explains how he wrote the riff for Sweet Child O' Mine. In terms of contemporary guitar heroes, it doesn't get much more iconic than Slash. Even those who are not fans of rock and metal are acutely aware of his exploits, a testament to the heights he has hit across his career. Given the power behind Guns N' Roses and Velvet Revolver, Slash's back catalogue is brimming with legendary moments that all budding guitarists have spent time trying to emulate. Stylistically, his work is placed somewhere between that of another hero of the Gibson Les Paul, Jimmy Page, and that of more visceral thrash players such as Kerry King of Slayer. There's a swaggering blues current that runs through his work, but concurrently, there's also high-octane energy and a penchant for electrifying shredding, as displayed on cuts such as Welcome to the Jungle or You Could Be Mine. From his musical aptitude to the memory of him walking out of the church in the middle of a desert to perform the overblown solos for November Rain, Slash is a storied musician, and his reputation precedes him. Much of this mythos can be attributed to one track, 1988's Sweet Child O' Mine, one of rock's greatest crossover hits. It has such a universal appeal that we've even seen numerous absurd renditions undertaken on Simon Cowell's talent shows. Famously, Slash's riff is what makes Sweet Child O' Mine so legendary, and luckily for us, during a radio interview made available by Raised on Radio back in 2018, the guitarist revealed how he wrote the riff. All of us were living in this one house. It was completely a shell of a house. We parted this house on the ground, Slash recalled. We were sitting on the floor in the living room because we didn't have any furniture. I was playing this riff and as he started playing some chord changes behind it and that's what started. Then Axel was in the house and he was listening from upstairs. So a couple days later we had a pre-production rehearsal and we're playing. He continued, between song at one point Axel said, "Hey, play that thing you guys were playing the other day." All of a sudden we realized he had written a whole thing of lyrics for that basic idea and off it went. Guns N' Roses was a pretty hardcore, gritty rock and roll band. That was an up-tempo ballad and in the set. It just didn't sit well with me, you know. It's like, here we are doing Welcome to the Jungle, Paradise City, it's so easy, and then came this sort of ballad thing. When you know, it turned out to be the biggest song we ever did, laughs, the guitarist concluded.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
I promise you, I'll show you, Mike, after this, on YouTube, there is the worst ever cover version of that song. I guarantee it's the worst one you've ever seen. So maybe we'll put it in the comments.
I would say it's really hard to play.
I can't play it, but that doesn't say.
I can't play anymore. This.
Slash was once asked what his goal was in playing. He said to be recognised. I think he met his goal. Absolutely.
Definitely.
What I love about Slash was his original guitar was not even a real Gibson.
How
China guitar skeptic stuff.
Yeah.
Jake, me too. It's really beautiful. That's why I bought it. BC Rich Slash's Mockingbirds are great too, but no love for the BC Rich compared to the Les Paul standards.
I started out with BC Rich.
Oh yes, you saw them on when he was younger, didn't you?
Yeah.
I mean, you know, I'm a Les Paul player.
I
love it. Well, an Epiphone Les Paul player.
That's the same thing. But we have.
Oh well, I think it was my lovely wife Esther who asked for the Glee video.
Okay.
She's expecting to see a bit of Glee. To make her all happy. That's what it is.
Slash stopping Glee from using the music of Guns N' Roses. Guns N' Roses and Velvet Revolver guitarist Slash is the personification of the rock and roll spirit. Known to be equally as hard partying as he is hard rocking, his life and career are highly mythologized, with a biopic of his life begging to be made. He's one of the finest players of the sixth string in history. With his style placed somewhere between Jimmy Page and Ritchie Blackmore, he has provided many visceral moments over the years, including Welcome to the Jungle, You Will Be Mine and Slither. As well as being a hero for millions, he is also one of rock's most esteemed oracles, possessing extensive knowledge of the arts that is a prerequisite for someone of his stature. Not afraid to speak his mind, over the years, Slash has given his opinion on everyone from Nirvana to modern studio technology. One of the finest examples of Slash's position as a commentator came back in 2011 when he gave his opinion on the biggest TV show of the day, Glee, which was famed for using the music of many different artists from Radiohead to Journey. The guitarist revealed that Ryan Murphy's show had approached Guns N' Roses to use their music, but they rejected it, as it was anathema to what they represented. Slash criticized the show in an interview with Entertainment Weekly when he was asked whether there was a possibility of Glee covering one of his band's songs or even a Guns N' Roses themes episode. Actually, we got asked about that once already but it got turned down, Slash explained. In the current climate of what's going on in entertainment these days, I try to be more optimistic than negative because it's really easy to get negative about it, but I draw the line at Glee. Glee is worse than Grease and Grease is bad enough. When Grease came out I was like, oh, come on, give me a break. Actually, I look at Grease now and think, between High School Musical and Glee, Grease was a brilliant work of art. Interestingly, Glee creator Ryan Murphy responded to Slash's comments by getting rather personal. He noted that A-listers such as Stevie Nicks, Jennifer Lopez, and Simon Cowell had all asked to appear on the show. He told The Hollywood Reporter, usually I find that people who make those comments, their careers are over, they are uneducated and quite stupid. Murphy's catty comment, which mentioned some of the most vanilla figures in the industry, drew much criticism, including from one of the nicest men in music, who also happens to be one of the most accomplished. The Glee guy, what a effing jerk, Foo Fighters frontman Dave Grohl told The Hollywood Reporter. Slash was the first one. He wanted to do Guns N' Roses, and Slash is like, I hate effing musicals. It's worse than Grease. Then, Murphy's like, well, of course he's a rock star, that's what they effing do. And it's just like, dude, maybe not everyone loves Glee. Me included.
So there you go.
Yeah, well, I you know, just Resta. But I think the only thing wrong there was that he said Grease was rubbish. Grease is not rubbish, is it?
You know, I do of shows and stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm not adverse to musical, but I do know that Slash and the Foo Fighters pretty much were.
They didn't like it.
Mm.
One thing that he mentioned in that video was that the way people record things. And Slash's last album with Miles, their fourth album, I think it's just called 4, they actually recorded it live in the studio on the floor. So, and apparently I haven't really checked the album out, but yeah, it was then overdubs were done afterwards. But the bass of the whole album is just them all playing together. So worth checking out.
Grease 2 is rubbish.
Grease 2 is rubbish. Yeah.
So
should never have been done.
Well,
we got 2 more because I'm aware of the time for Mike. We got Slash Fake Guitars and I can't say it again. Velvet Revolver's Stolen Riff. So next one we see in the comments.
Okay. Let us know.
Or we'll have to choose for you. Let's do Velvet Revolver's Stolen Riff.
Yeah.
Slash admitted Velvet Revolver's Stolen Riff. Velvet Revolver was established by the lead guitarist Slash, bassist Duff McKagan, drummer Matt Sorum, rhythm guitarist Dave Kushner, and lead vocalist Scott Weiland in 2002. The band gained success with the first album, Contraband, by debuting at number 1 on the Billboard 200 chart. The song Slither brought them a Grammy Award for Best Hard Rock Performance in 2005. The debut studio album of Velvet Revolver, entitled Contraband, became one of the building stones of their successful career. The band had a solid place in the rock scene from the beginning with this record. They became an inspiration for the musicians by embracing a distinctive style. However, the band, who always tried to reflect their original and unique style, had a stolen riff on their debut album, as Slash confessed in the previous years. Velvet Revolver gained an initial commercial success with the debut album Contraband, released on June 8, 2004. The record included impactful tracks like Slither and Fall to Pieces. Dirty Little Thing was one of these pieces as a top 10 hit. However, there was also a controversial issue about the stolen riff it involved. Josh Todd and Keith Nelson contributed to this track along with the other members during its writing process. Although they did not continue with the group, as Slash decided Scott Weiland and Dave Kushner to attend the Velvet Revolver, the band kept the riffs and released the song without making any changes. During a 2017 conversation with Motley Crue's Nikki Sixx, Slash stated that he, Duff McKagan, and Matt Sorum were writing a song. He mentioned that there were 2 other musicians who worked with them during the creation process of the track. After the pair left the band, Velvet Revolver members released the song as it was created. However, they found out that the 2 former members of the group, Josh Todd and Keith Nelson, stole the riffs from another band. Slash revealed that Buckcherry later realized Velvet Revolver was playing the riffs they created, which belonged to the band's piece, Cyber Bay. Both sides were very shocked by the situation, as the guitarist noted. Before Velvet Revolver really became Velvet Revolver, we had written these 2 parts of one song, Duff McKagan and Matt Sorum and I. And we were working with some other guys, who will remain nameless, who brought in the other 2 parts of that song. So when Velvet Revolver came together, we kept the song as it was. And it turned out that the other 2 guys had lifted their parts from a band that they were rehearsing next door. So that band heard that song and said, "Those are our riffs." We didn't know what the F they were talking about. And then we heard who it was, that there was a band who was rehearsing next door. So when we heard the record, the song, I heard where those parts were, and it was like, oh, F. When Sixx asked whether the band got credit for their songwriting, Slash stated that the original band did not get credit for the track. As the guitarist indicated, Josh Todd and Keith Nelson were given credit for their contributions to the hit track. However, Velvet Revolver members were getting sued by the original band due to plagiarism. Slash responded when asked if they gave credit to the group for the song. Not the original band, but the guys we were working with. But the only thing is we were getting sued by the original band for that song.
So,
Stealing riffs.
yeah,
Yeah, I've you hear people saying that people have actually, this sounds like so and so, and the Stairway to Heaven case, and everything like that.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I mean, they kind of reinvented other people's riffs, didn't they? They even named the songs the same in the early days. But yeah.
But we have one more to play. I will do a
fake guitars / fake guitars.
Slash estimates he owns 400 guitars but still considers his Appetite era 59 Les Paul copy his number one. The Guns N' Roses rocker and Gibson brand ambassador says the Chris Durig build has a unique tone and personality and appears on every one of his records. Few relationships in rock and roll history are as iconic, mythical, even, as Slash and his Gibson Les Paul. From its roots as an entirely innocent pairing that started with a cheap $150 knockoff Les Paul, the combo has since spawned an entire legion of single-cut signature guitars. Slash is never seen on stage without one, and has been allied with Gibson for over 3 decades, during which time he's overseen numerous eponymous Les Paul lines, most recently taking the form of the dedicated Slash collection, and become a global brand ambassador for the company. In fact, Gibson even celebrated the release of Slash's latest solo album, 4, by unveiling a translucent cherry-finished album edition Les Paul. Yet despite the long-standing relationship, Slash's self-proclaimed go-to guitar for recording isn't, in fact, a Gibson. It's a Les Paul all right, but not the real deal. Instead, it's his 59 LP replica, built by late guitar builder, Chris Durig. Speaking to Metro, Slash also attempted to quantify the size of his guitar collection, which he estimated to be a little bit in excess of 400. When asked what his go-to guitar is, Slash revealed, "The go-to guitar for me when I'm recording is the same one I've been using since 1987, which is a replica of a 1959 Gibson Les Paul, handmade by the late, great guitar builder, Chris Durig. I recorded Appetite for Destruction with it and I've done pretty much every record with it since," he added. It has a unique tone and personality to it. After waxing lyrical about guitars and unpicking his most recent album with Myles Kennedy and the Conspirators, Slash was then asked about his favorite portable music device of all time, a question that also unearthed his least favorite device of all time. And, once again, the response was quite surprising. Revealing his favorite to be those little flat Sony cassette players that had a tape on one end and the speakers on the other, Slash then added, "Since then, there was a period where I had an iPod, which I would take on the road with me for convenience. But," he continued, "the quality of the sound drove me crazy." 4. Slash's 4th album with Myles Kennedy and the Conspirators arrived earlier this month, and was performed in its entirety by the band at a recent Live at Studio 60 live stream concert. It was also the first LP to be released on Gibson's newly established record label, Gibson Records. So Slash guitar number 1 is not a Gibson. In fact, it was a really special guitar made by Chris Durig. Slash also has many fake guitars, so what do you think about his fakes? They are certainly not the rubbish that comes from China, but they are fakes. Gibson have copied these fakes. That is really strange.
That is.
So, yeah.
So Gibson have copied what was a fake in the first place.
Yeah.
Crazy, isn't it?
And for Slash guitar.
And he's got, so someone, Mike, has got more guitars than you, and that's Slash.
I've only got about 40. He got 400.
400.
Amazing, really amazing.
Chris Durig died from all the fumes he inhaled from the guitars.
Yeah, probably were. Yeah, absolutely. Oh, vampire.
Always getting insights into what goes on with the musicians we listen to. Great stuff with your videos. Best regards.
Thanks, mate. Really appreciate it. We have got to the end of the evening. We're over now. Thank you very much for helping me out tonight. And always be safe if you take care.